So cool. All right, there's no better way to spend a Friday than with the man, the myth, the legend, Clifford Starks, who I think when Kathy first talked to him, well, I know when I first talked to him, I called Kathy up and I'm like, this dude is amazing. I love this guy. And then Kathy talked to him and she was like, holy
I was
moly.
crying. I definitely cried. And actually, I had met Clifford through Jason years ago, but never really connected. And so, yeah, my first real conversation with him, I was in tears very quickly.
Oh,
Thank
amazing.
you, guys.
Amazing. So, for those of you who may not know, Clifford is a very accomplished athlete. He was an MMA guy, fought in the UFC, and now he helps leaders really figure out how to perform under pressure. And I think if you really sit with kind of what he's done in his life, we've all been under a lot of pressure. And certainly like people like Scott Heathman who have fought for our country. I mean, there's no higher pressure than that. But if you think about what you do for a living is you're going to fight another human being and that person's goal is to knock your ass out and you're going to do it in front of thousands and thousands of people. That is a pressure that will pucker most people's what's up pretty quickly. And so, I mean, just think about it. That is crazy pressure. And so I love the work that Clifford does. And so today we're going to be talking about the feather, the baseball bat, and the semi-truck. So I don't know what this story is, but we're about to find out. And I'm super grateful. Man, I'm grateful that you're doing this for us. This is so cool.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. And I appreciate all of you as leaders within the Outlier project, because you, just in being here, you're saying you're intentional with what you want. And I think that's honestly where it all starts, is being intentional with what we want. Where do we want to go? How do we want to show up? So I want to say, hey, Jason, hey, Rich, hey, Kathy, and hey, Scott, only because those are the people that I saw as there was some talking going on. And I want to share the most powerful thing anyone has is the ability to be present with themselves. When they're present with themselves, they can create the reality that they want to create. And the truth is, we're always creating our own reality, whether we know it or not. And so I look at the feather, the baseball bat, and the semi-truck. Those are the learning lessons. Sometimes we get hit with feathers. Sometimes we get hit with baseball bats. And sometimes we get hit with semi-trucks. And what I've noticed on my journey is people tend to wait for the semi-truck. Mm-hmm. They wait for the semi-truck to hit them. And we have this thought of like, well, I have to do this and I have to do that to become like, no, we don't have to do anything. We get the choice to be intentional with what we want to be intentional with. And when we choose intentionality, life gets easier. When we don't, well, we're waiting for the semi-truck. We wait for it to run us over and go, oh, I should have done this, or oh, I should have done that. Me and Jason ended up meeting off of having just insane dreams and being insane action takers to go after our dreams. That's what every entrepreneur needs just to even have a chance at this game. To even have a chance, you have to go after a big dream. And so I don't like just sharing my story. I would like others to take action in their story, because my story really doesn't matter if it doesn't change yours. That's how I look at the world. And so if you guys could please grab a piece of paper, something to write on, and I will share, this is how I start every big dream. It's called a BHAG. It's a big, hairy, audacious goal. And I do this every single time. I write it down and I put it somewhere I can see it. When I was a fighter, my dream was so big, even my own coach thought I was insane for having it. I wanted to fight in the UFC in a year. And for those who don't know what the UFC, it's the highest level of fighting that you can do. So I wasn't here just to train as an amateur. I wasn't here to, well, let me dabble in this and see what happens. I wanted to be the top of the top of the top. And so I told my coach, I want to fight in the UFC in a year. He didn't say anything. His face said a lot. It was very judgmental. But the next day, he sits me down and he goes, there's no way that's going to happen. Only the best of the best of the best fight in that league. And for what you want to do, it's not going to happen. And so I asked him if we could at least try. I'm like, well, can we at least try? Now, share with you all, try is actually weak language, but I intentionally used weak language because I needed his buy-in. I just needed enough buy-in from him. Just needed enough. I didn't personalize what he said or what he did because people are going to say and do what they're going to say and do. That is life. And that's okay. We get to choose how we're going to take it in. He saw what he saw, and I had to give him belief. And actually, I want to ask people this question because I really want to get your guys' feedback on this. How long do you think it took for him to actually believe that this dream I was going after was possible?
You want people to shout it out?
Shout it out.
6 months.
6 months?
Yes.
When you did it.
When I did it? Anything else?
Right away.
I didn't hear that.
Right away when he saw the look on your face, your
Right away?
determination. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was gonna say the same thing, like same day.
Carrie says 2 months.
2 months? Okay. I love all of your answers. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for participating. It took him 5 weeks. 5 weeks. It took 5 weeks because I was coachable. I listened to him and I got really, really, really good. To the point he goes, what you did in 5 weeks would take people 5 years. I bring this up to share the potential that we all have. We all have it. There's just stuff in our head that tells us, well, this and that, and I got to believe this, and I got to get people to believe in this. No, you don't. You just got to go all in on what you're going all in on. So with the BHAG, put it somewhere you can see it. Because you ever notice if you don't see things, out of sight, out of mind?
Mm-hmm.
So we have our BHAGs, we have these things inside of us and we hide them. We let them get dusty. Put it front and center. Then ask yourself, who do I have to be? So I thought of myself as I was already in the UFC, whether he knew it or not. That's what I saw. So I trained like I was in the UFC. I ate like I was in the UFC. I showed up like I was in the UFC. One of the hardest things I ever did was entrepreneurship because I thought I had to be something that I wasn't. I had a lot of people telling me, oh, use this strategy. Oh, this tactic will work. Oh, you need to do this. When the truth is, you just need to be yourself. Fully you. How you show up. Because when you show up the way you were meant to show up, you will be able to show up consistently. I go, wow, it gets trained out of us. Where we pretend to be something that we're not just to fit in. That's what I really love about the Outlier project. We're not about fitting in. And I'm saying don't. Like, go all in on you. That thing that scares you to share with others, share it with others. Embody yourself. Be who you were meant to be. And then the next piece, it's a formula that I use consistently, but I didn't even know I was using it when I first started using it. I had no idea. And part of leadership is just being willing to go first. When I connected with Jason, like I He felt like a brother from another mother the first time I talked to him. I connected with Scott and I felt that same feeling. I connected with Kathy deeply the third time I met with her. And I felt that feeling. I go, where's that feeling coming from? Because I love trying to understand things. I always ask why. Why is this? Why is this? Why is this? You ever notice your vibe attracts your tribe?
Mhm.
I am a person I'm going to grow to the end. To the end. Because I choose to. I choose not to help myself in growing to the end. I'm just like, I'm going to grow. It was interesting. My wife knew it more than I knew it. Because I told her, I'm like, Bem, all right. So my new BHAG, by the way, and I want to hear your guys' BHAGs too. So please share. But my new BHAG is to influence 1 billion people to be loving, kind, and abundant. That's my BHAG. And I told her, I go, Bem, once I get this one done, then we're riding off into the sunset. And she looks at me, she goes, no, we won't. You'll never stop. You'll never stop. And I realized, like, she's right. I never will. But I also know this. Because I know I'll never stop, I know it's important to be a family man. I know it's important to be a high performer and a high achiever. I know every piece of me is important, not just some of those pieces. So I make sure that my wife feels safe, she feels comfortable, she feels loved, she feels appreciated. I make sure to do the same for my kids. And I also notice some high performers will burn the candle from both ends and the middle. I tell people, take the feather approach. A really good high performer knows where they're great and they know where they're not. And they're okay with both. Because there's always going to be someone who can support them in another area. And so the formula that I do, everything starts with proximity. Whatever you're around, who are you around? How are they showing up? How are you showing up? What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to do? Go around people who can actually help you become what you want to become. We actually, as human beings, it's an interesting notice, we want to grow. We also want to shrink. We are hilarious because we want both. Like, wow, that's interesting. And so I go, oh, so if I put someone in a comfortable enough space to grow, a safe enough space, they'll grow. The other thing that I noticed, I had to be hit with feathers because semi-trucks just wasn't going to cut it for me inside of a UFC cage. Like if I had to take concussion after concussion to learn the lesson, that would have been really dangerous for me. And I'm not a big fan of that. So I wanted to learn the lessons through getting hit with more feathers than semi-trucks. The same is true in entrepreneurship. I see there's entrepreneurs who are getting hit with semi-truck after semi-truck and they actually kind of get used to it. Instead of saying like, wait a minute, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this again? Do I have to do this? So proximity, get yourself around the right people. Then there's behaviors. So our behaviors can either help us or hurt us. And we don't even know. Like I'm looking at Scott right now, I can see his nose and he can see mine. But if I didn't have a camera, I wouldn't be able to see my own. He wouldn't be able to see his. So I go, oh, wow, we have all these behaviors and we don't even, if we have a stuck point, our stuck point is usually somewhere in a behavior. Proximity, behavior, feedback. Once you know you have a behavior, you can have a feedback loop. So a fighter is, it really is as simple as the one who gets punched and kicked the least and punches and kicks the other person more wins the fight. But easier said than done. Once you get inside of there, you realize, oh, wait, they want the same outcome that I want. So I have to be more proficient at getting to that outcome. So I go, oh, the most powerful thing anyone can do, go do things that scare you. Do things that scare you so that you realize it wasn't scary at all. Behaviors, feedback loop, repeat. The biggest lesson that I've taken from my journey, it was so shocking to me. The most powerful transformation you can give to someone is vulnerability. I did not know that. I had no idea. Those who know me closely know I'm just a vulnerable person. Like, you're going to know what you're going to get. Like, I've won and I've lost. I made it into the Hall of Fame. I've been knocked out on live TV. Getting knocked out on live TV was as embarrassing as I thought it was going to be. And it shows again and again and again. But it empowered me in two ways. One, I realized I didn't die and I could get back up and just do it better the next time. But that vulnerability, I did not realize this was going to happen. I had one of my own clients. I had been training them for years. And we're sitting on the ring. And he goes, I finally get you. I did not know what he meant by that. I'm like, I'm confused. What do you mean? For those who do not like cuss words, I will say, I used to think he was full of crap. He said a different word. And I go, okay, well, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. But I'm curious, why? He goes, all you ever did was win. I've never seen you lose before. So you talk about all this positivity and showing up and keeping a smile on your face and doing what you do, but you've never had a hard day in your life. It made me realize, wow, he didn't even know that I was the only black kid in my school for a long time. A person who, yeah, I have a heart of gold. I love people. I love them deeply. Surprisingly, I love some people more than they love themselves. So I like to be liked, but I also was going to play the game the way I wanted to play the game. So I had to figure out how to communicate effectively to people who instantly identified me as different. Fast forward, I didn't know it was going to make me the person that I am today. Able to be vulnerable with others, able to share my truth, and able to stand on what I stand on. If you would have asked me, hey, do you want to be in this situation when I was a kid? I would have said, absolutely not. I wanted no piece of that. I go, oh, that's what life is. We have things happen to us, and then we learn lessons as they happen. The biggest thing that I've learned, I feel the safeness here because Scott and all of you created that safeness. I was going to say Scott, but then I realized it's all of us. Mm-hmm. We get the opportunity to create the safeness. We do. So with your BHAG, write it down, put it on your refrigerator, put it somewhere you can see it. Because when you go out into the real world and challenges happen, and they will, have that BHAG as your reminder to what you're going to do and how you're going to show up, how you're going to be, how you're going to present. And it's not to say, well, you mean I should stand all the time? No, you're going to fall. You definitely will. But there's safe spaces like the Outlier Project where you can tell people your vulnerable stuff. There are always going to be people who will support you. It's just about being really, really intentional. But take as many shots from those feathers as possible. If you're getting hit with baseball bats and semi-trucks, take a step back, reset yourself and say, why is that happening? And who can help me get out of it? So I would like to turn it to all of you and ask who would like to share their BHAG? Who would like to inspire us?
Can I ask you a question first?
Absolutely.
how do you do you have a process for helping people understand what their BHAG is? Because I think sometimes people's BHAG becomes not really their own, but what they think other people want it to be, and they put that out there to the world when it's really not truly their big, hairy, audacious goal.
I love that question. I don't have a process. Well, I do, and this is the way I do it. But it's kind of, there's another way Tony Robbins does it, but I'll share my way first. So I call myself a corner man. I'm really good at reading energy. You have to be when you're dodging punches and kicks. So I listen really, really closely. So I'll give you guys an example. I had one woman, I was her personal trainer at the time. And she's dealing with being overweight. And I'm sharing with her, I'm like, well, why do you want to get in shape? And she goes, well, I want to be healthier and I want to live for my kids and it just felt very, very lukewarm. Didn't feel like her actual reason. And so I go, can I be honest with you? It doesn't sound like you actually really care about that. Not in a bad way. It doesn't sound like that's going to get you going. Would you be open to sharing like what gets you going? And she leans over, she goes, you want me to tell you the real truth? I go, yeah. She goes, I want to be the sexiest bee on the beach. And I was like, there it is. There it is. See, we get so used to saying what the society wants us to say. Mm-hmm. So it's a really great point, Scott, that we just say what the world like, oh, well, this is what I'm supposed to say. This is how I'm supposed to show up. Talking about vulnerability, I'll share one with you guys. Me and my wife were getting counseling, and I'll also share counseling doesn't have to happen when you're having a bad time. It can happen when you're having a good time too. I think we have all these misnomers that, oh, I don't want to tell people that I'm doing this. Oh, I got to hide this thing over here. Like, do you want to live your best life or do you want to be in pride? Do you want to be so proud that you don't live your best life? Sign me up for my best life. Mm-hmm. So the counselor says to me, he goes, well, what do you want in a marriage? And I started talking about what everybody wants in a marriage. Even I do it. And he goes, that's weird. I didn't ask you what everyone wants. I asked you, what do you want? And I was like, so taken aback by it because no one's ever asked me that before. Like, I'm like, holy crap, no one's even ever asked me, what do I want? And I never even thought about it until he was asking me about it. So I do my best to ask people, what do they want? What do they really, really want? So Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi do a 5 whys. Why do you want that? Why do you want that? Why do you want that? Because it peels the onion back deeper and deeper, and it allows you to really see what you want. It cuts through all the noise and the crap.
That is good advice. Good advice. Good stuff. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, yeah.
Jump in. All right. Heathman, what do you got?
So Clifford, it's fantastic to meet you and happy Juneteenth, everyone. I briefly spoke to you at the Harvard Yale game. I mean, that was an eternity ago, it feels like, yeah. But I've been following you, and I've got a couple friends that are young men that are in UFC right now, and they've gone through hell and back lightweights to get to where they're at, and it's a brutal path. So I admire you for working through all that.
Thank you.
My big, hairy, audacious goal is I want to be a resilience coach for professional sports teams, specifically football.
Nice.
Because I feel like there's a lot of athletes that they will go get hit by a semi truck and they haven't been hit by enough of those little things yet in their life. They've had success quite a bit, and some of those strike like lightning. And if they're not prepared, they won't maneuver well through it. And I want those folks to be back at the top of their game. I could easily have said same thing for corporate because I deeply care about leadership and the
Love that.
same thing from a performance level, but I just have a love of sport. And I see myself doing that someday of, some coach calling me saying, Scott, I need you to work on David over here. He's all messed up, and we work through it, however long it's going to take. So, what, when you talk about all these smaller things and you talk about people's resilience, it's not just that semi truck and all of a sudden you're resilient. What are the things that you faced that help build up the resilience throughout your life to prepare you for maneuvering beyond those big things?
It's a great question. I keep the stories that serve me and let go of the ones that don't. So we go back to proximity. When we surround ourselves with people who understand this mind of ours, because our mind only has two fears: loud noises and falling. Two. So I go, I got a lot more fears than those. So I go, I wonder where those came from. All created by the people that we're around. And so I go, oh, okay, so I get to choose which is going to serve me and which isn't going to serve me. And I focus really, really intentionally on, okay, what is it that I'm looking to achieve? Where is it that I want to go? And who do I have to be? And I go, what stories do they hear? How do they show up? What do they do? So I'll share with you my 1 billion people, loving, kind, and abundant. I actually think we are all going to change the world because we're going to do it together. What I realized was, if I stay in loving, kindness, and abundance, it just spreads. I feel better, and the people that I connect with feel better. And I started realizing, oh, wow, everyone's playing the game the best way they know how to play the game. They're seeing what they see. And if I can be loving, kind, and abundant and communicate effectively and help them untangle whatever those stories are in their head, they will appreciate me and I will appreciate them because we both have won in that exchange. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, I like that because I think people don't realize those little stories are probably aiding their lives more than they realize.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Tanya, what do you got? You're on mute.
I forget that I mute myself.
That's because I mute you.
What's that?
That's because I mute you.
I think I muted myself earlier, but anyway. Yeah, so much of what you said, Clifford, oh my God, it just sings to my heart. You've been somebody I've wanted to connect with since the beginning. And today just reminds me that, wow, there's so much more behind that reason I want to connect with you.
Real quick, I'm going to give you my number right now.
Okay.
602.
Okay.
403.
Okay.
6957.
6957. Thank you. That was very generous of you.
Absolutely.
So much of what you said has rung true. I had a funny moment yesterday on a podcast. I've been sitting in this space where I've been realizing for a long time, I told my daughter, like, dating is a learning experience, right? It's not about whether you end up with that person. It's about what you learn about yourself along the way and what you want and what you don't want, blah, blah, blah. And I've started realizing that life every day is a learning moment, right? We're constantly presented with these learning moments where, yeah, it's just, that's the game of life, right? And yesterday I had a podcast recording where everything went sideways, and it was kind of funny because it was really appropriate to the conversation me and this woman were having. And I was like, so here we were, just like, we have to go with the flow, right? Learn just embrace them and stay out of the struggle with them, right? This idea that when we resist, we're in struggle. Anyway, so all that's kind of resonating with me right now while you're talking. But my big, hairy, audacious goal is a little scary to say in front of a group of people like this. But, and I can explain the reason behind it if anybody cares, but I don't have to. My BHAG is to heal the world. And that dropped in for me about a month ago. And it seems, I was like, it sounds so narcissistic and self-centered, but it really isn't. Like, it's not something I thought of. It's something that like dropped in. This is the best way I can explain it. Like, it's not of my creation. In other words, it came from another space.
I love it. I love it. And I want to thank you for the courage to share. This is where the game, these fears, they're in our head.
Yeah.
They're in our head.
Sure. For sure. And I think you're right. Reality. It's us as a collective that are going to do it, right? So everybody's going to play their role and do their thing. Yeah.
Yeah. My biggest thing, I'm actually getting emotional even thinking about it. I had to take care of Cliff. I didn't even know how to take care of Cliff by himself.
Yeah.
Until I burnt out. As an entrepreneur, I took the semi-truck.
Yeah.
That's why I say how to get hit with less semi-trucks. Sometimes you got to take the semi-truck to know how to avoid the semi-truck.
To learn how to listen for the feathers, right?
Yes.
Pay attention to the feathers. Get the nudges while they're small before they smack you upside the head. I'm with you on that. I spent a lifetime of Mack trucks, and I'm done with that. And I think you're right about taking care of yourself. And that's something I'm just now deeply diving into with someone I'm working with. So yeah, go put that BHAG somewhere you can see it. Yeah, every day it pops in my head. It's crazy, but yes, I will write it down. I already put that down on a piece of paper.
And I'll tell you, that doesn't sound narcissistic at all. It sounds like a loving human being who wants the best for others.
Yeah. Well, and Matthew Bigger is helping me. I got to tell you that right now. He's already
nice.
So I'm excited to be working with him right now. He's like, let's do it. So he's like, it's all connected to everything else you're doing. I'm like, I know, I get that. So yeah.
Perfect. I love it. Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for coming on and sharing with us today.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Melanie Fox. You're on mute too.
The champion.
Hey,
I didn't
Cliff.
even know Melanie was there. She made it. All right.
I made it. I snuck it in, Cliff. So Jason and Christine Campbell Rappin both put me in touch with Cliff at the same time because I said like UFC, and then I didn't realize that I'd meet my bestie in Cliff, and so we have like been inseparable ever since, if I might say. But I stole. I'm usually kind of I think a unique person, but I flat out stole Cliff's goal My big, hairy, audacious goal is to get into the UFC in less than a year. However, not doing the same thing in the UFC since I don't think I have a weight class and I have absolutely no skills other than like scratching someone's cornea if they let me, but which is not even legal. But I wanted to just shout Cliff out because in working with Cliff, part of his community, I did get to that goal in actually a lot shorter than a year to coach someone who's an active fighter in the UFC. And the funny thing is, Cliff did not make any intros. Cliff just kept asking me, well, what do you think you should do now? And what do you think they would say if you do this? And what do you think? And what have you done this week? And what are you planning to do? And it just kind of lit a fire. And I found my fighter that I started working with. And now I will ask Cliff to help introduce me to the fighting nerds, but that's very specific. But I have been reaching out on my own. But I have to say, thanks to Cliff, I really felt that BHAG was achievable in less time. Like I really started to believe myself. And now I'm just going to reframe since you asked. I've got a spin-off BHAG and one new one. And my BHAG, which I will say out loud, and I said, not just I will become, but I insist that I will become the first go-to speech coach for the UFC, not just coach someone in it, but I insist. And if I meet Dana White, I will also insist that he beg me to become the first go-to speech coach for fighters in the UFC, native or non-native speakers. And my new other BHAG is that I want to become the go-to person for international pitch contests. And that would be as a coach, a judge, an MC. I think I might be the only one with this specialty. So I am just starting to insist everywhere that I volunteer and then they potentially pay me. And I appreciate Cliff for inspiring these BHAGs.
Love it. Love it. I'll also share, and Melanie, I appreciate you for pointing that out. The quality of our life comes down to the quality of our questions. Want a better life? Ask better questions. And I learned that as a personal trainer. And I'll share, I was an overweight kid. I was very overweight and I ended up losing the weight and I wanted to help others lose their weight. And I was having trouble figuring out how to get these people to lose weight. And the funny thing is we have all the information. We know what to do. Let's see, if I eat less, eat more clean food, and exercise, I'll lose the weight. But I had to learn how to ask better questions. I had to learn, they have to see it themselves as they go through their journey. So I'll share a really quick God moment. For me, I was working, there was a woman at Circle K that I got very connected with, and she started talking about her back and her knees. And I hear God say, tell her, and I didn't want any part of telling her this. Like, you don't just tell a woman that they're overweight. Like, that's not the safest thing to do. But I listened to God. And so I ended up telling him, like, well, if you lost a little weight, that may help your knees and your back. And she got teary-eyed and she gave me a hug. And I think she felt my genuine care for her. I can't quite say, but she gave me a hug and she said, if you show me the way, I will listen. And so I did. I showed her what to eat, what to do, how to show up. And she ended up losing 110 pounds.
Wow.
110 pounds. And she hadn't trained at all. That was just from eating. So I take her, I'm like, hey, you want to come to the gym and work out? She goes, okay. I take her to the gym and I realize, she goes, I've never had this much fun. Like this is so much fun. I go, yeah, exercise is supposed to be fun. She goes, oh, no, not in my house. And I go, well, what do you mean? She goes, my dad used to punish me with exercise whenever I did something wrong. and go, there it is. We get these things and we think this is the way reality is supposed to be. We don't have to get hit by semi trucks. Like, we don't have to do it. Even in coaching, they say like, well, coaches have to be hard and you got to just rip it apart. If I took you to a dentist and I said, hey, we don't need to give you anesthesia. We don't need to take care of you. It's got to be tough. We got to let you know that root canal is really, really painful so that you learn your lesson. Would you want to go? They go, the only reason we don't go to something like that is because it's not considered the experience. We've had enough experiences and we've seen enough dentists to know like, okay, we get anesthesia and then we get put under and someone talks to us nicely and then they pull the tooth. They go, wow, we're all competing with ourselves all the time. It's got to be hard, got to be tough. Just got to ask the right question. Ask the right question, start seeing it in a different way, and then take the actions that actually serve.
So powerful. Who else has got questions for Cliff? Fire away. It could be anything.
Yeah, you can go any direction you guys want to go.
I just want to say thank you. I look forward to our call, first of all, but I realized that even when I was writing down my goal, it was very surface level, like not deep enough, listening. And I'm real big on asking a lot of questions. I feel like I'm a detective half of my life, but I love how you said, the quality of our life comes down to the quality of our questions. And do you desire to live your best life or do you want to live in your pride? I wrote that down. That I will definitely be quoting you.
Yeah.
Because
I love that.
Powerful. That is so powerful. So thank you.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm going to do a shameless plug too. Now check this out. And I want you guys doing more of this. I'm going to do a shameless plug to Rich. Rich created my one word. The guy is a powerhouse. He knows his stuff. And he was very intentional with me. He took his time, with intentional time, to share his one word with me. And then he spent an hour with me after explaining why it's my one word. I want to share, Zig Ziglar says, help enough people get what they want and you'll get what you want. But the other thing that I've also realized, you got to practice doing that to even know how to do it. Rich is a very gifted individual, and I'm grateful to have him in my life. Grateful to have him in my soul. And Scott, I'm grateful for you because you positioned me to connect with all these leaders. So the other thing that they say your network is your net worth. Not if you don't know how to use it.
Right.
Life's about taking care of one another. This game is actually really simple.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Rich, what do you got?
First off, I want to say thank you, Cliff. I really appreciate that. I'm really grateful that you said that. Two things. I want to share my BHAG, but I also want to share in doing the work with me. One of the things that people wrote about you, because I asked for people to write about the person. I just want to read what someone wrote about you just really quickly, because it really does sum up even this call. It says, what makes you unique is that you were trained. I asked people what makes the person unique. What makes you unique is that you were trained to be a killer in the ring, but you are one of the gentlest and kindest humans I ever met. You are the exact opposite of any stereotype of Black men, fathers in today's society. You make no excuses and take no hostages. I say that because, honestly, when you wanted to reach out to me, I was intimidated. But then I met you and I worked with you and I'm like, oh my God, this guy's unbelievable. And by the way, his one word is steel, S-T-E-E-L. He gives people steel to turn pressure into power. That's it. Bottom line, he doesn't avoid pressure. He tells you are going to have pressure, but I'm going to give you steel to turn pressure into power. I'm going to make you love pressure and use it as your advantage. So I think that's great. And I want to share my BHAG, which is I'm going to transform 1 million lives one word at a time. I quit my career 8 years ago. I make no money. I left without a safety net 8 years ago, no salary. And people that laughed at me aren't laughing anymore. And I'm going to transform 1 million lives because I want people to believe they have a core value like you do, steel, that makes you unique. You don't need credentials. They're nice to have. Credentials are credibility, not identity. And I want everyone to know they have a value. And I extract it. And I read your workbook, and I will give my 401k to you. You are steel, no doubt.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you. And I'll also share that hits me when we say something and then people laugh. That's what they're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like Scott calling it the Outlier project. Like, yeah, we're supposed to go after things other people don't go after. Go like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And by the way, Tanya, I'm right there in the same boat with you about changing the world. What was interesting, I had a woman, I was a 19-year-old kid at the time. I'm 19. And she goes, like, you believe in yourself so much, I think you might actually do it. And I go, well, yeah, I'm going all in. The worst that could happen is I didn't, and at least I tried.
Where
People's opinions are theirs.
Where did that come from?
That is a great question. I feel like I would be lying if I didn't say I was born with it. With that being said, anyone can be trained to be this way. I have trained hundreds of people through my journey. And a lot of people didn't think that they had it. Maybe I just listened. If you were to ask me, who do I listen to? I listen to God. Maybe I'm just listening to the right voice. Because I teach others how to do the same thing.
Yep.
And when they listen and they don't hear the noise, because that's all it is. It's just noise. Even when people are laughing, they don't even know what they're laughing about.
So good. Deborah, what do you got for Cliff?
So first I want to say thank you for sharing. And the one thing that I wrote down that has that I will keep remembering is your vibe attracts your tribe. And I absolutely believe that. I know that there are people that I meet for the first time and I go, wow, I really like that person. I want to get to know that person more. And I had that with Scott, you know, and he scheduled me for a 15-minute talk and we ended up talking for 50 minutes. So, I truly believe that that's true. And the other thing you said is, you know, be around the people that will help you become who you are supposed to become. And too many times we hang around people who tell us what we want to hear. And it's really the people who tell us what we need to hear and in a gentle way that help us become more of the person that we're supposed to be. So those are the things I have, but I would like to share my BHAG, which is to help 1 million businesses bring back that personal connection with their clients and their employees through building and nurturing relationships.
That's so cool. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And I want to also share, you guys are awesome because you're writing, like you're taking notes, you're being intentional. You guys are awesome leaders. Keep being amazing. And thank you for sharing your BHAGs.
Scott Heathman couldn't get enough the first time. He's coming back for more.
I'm coming back for more. Yeah, I'm on page 2. I love that you're very intentional about mobilizing, your team around you, like your tribe, your resources, all that kind of stuff. I firmly believe in that. Before you take action, you immobilize, and then that action step is a little less daunting. But I'm always curious, like, what have you taken out of your life? Or maybe it's been certain people that you've said, and I've had to say this to a couple friends, but this isn't the season that you're helping me with right now, but I need you at a point, just not right now. I mean, have you ever had any tough conversations like that with people, or have you had to take out certain resources that just weren't helping you mobilize?
I've had tough conversations before. But what supported me most, I focus on my bonds and not on my walls. So what I mean by that is when I'm bonding to something, like when I wanted to fight in the UFC, I had drinking buddies. Hey, Cliff, you want to go drinking? No, I got to train. Hey, Cliff, want to go drinking? No, got to train. And after 3 times, they just stop asking. I know I'm going after what I'm going after. So when we have our BHAGs just allow us to stay intentional with what we want, what we actually want. So I go back to Scott and say, yeah, take your time with your BHAG. Play with it. Get intentional with it. Like, is this what I really, really want? Ask the 5 whys. Because you're getting prepared to say things are going to come. Like, just as Rich said, the pressure is going to come. It will be there. And if you know what you want, it's almost like it doesn't even exist because you're so intentional with what you're going after. The things that are supposed to remove themselves will naturally remove themselves.
Did some of those drinking buddies, did they all understand? Did you lose any over time, a little bit longer than normal as friends?
No, they so I don't need people to understand the life that I'm going after. And I think that's what gets us in trouble.
That's a great point.
That's where the messy middle's at. We're like, oh, I need to get people to understand. And well, what I'm doing is the less I have to explain, the easier the game becomes for myself and everybody else.
I'm still dropping the mic. It's on its way down still.
Yeah. No, it's phenomenal.
That's a great point. It's a great point.
Mindy, did you still have a question?
I do. I'm not so sure it's a question as much as an observation. Cliff, thank you so much. Just so you know, I started a new book of notes and you're my first page.
Nice.
You said at the head of this call, you said, do things that scare you. Once you do, you realize they're not so scary at all. And I've been a part of this group since January, and I think this is the first time that I've actually gotten on and contributing live in the conversation.
Nice.
And there's a lot of truth in what you're saying. I have these intent bracelets, and one of them says fearless and the other says forward. And so, you know what? It's not so scary speaking in front of this whole group. So thank you.
Yeah.
And as far as my BHAG, I'm not sure I'm quite there. And I'm not, and maybe I am. But for me, and this came out of a conversation with Kathy, we had a one-on-one, and as I was struggling to figure out what I wanted for myself, I realized what I wanted for myself was to be at peace. And so while, you know, as much as I get a lot of joy out of bringing joy and goodness to people, I realized that I haven't been doing that for myself. So I feel like maybe that's the place for me to start. And, you know, maybe not so grand, but big for me. So
I love it.
So thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you from what I've experienced, inner peace is the most grand thing anyone can do. It allows people to step into their most powerful self. And so I love the awareness. And I'll also share good on you for speaking and sharing. I get nervous too. When I first talk with a group of people, I don't know what's going to happen. I just know I'm going to be present in the moment. And what I learn is, oh, the more present I am, the easier my game becomes. And then I got a badass like Melanie Fox to support me in saying the right things. Make sure I don't get my own semi-trucks by speaking the wrong stuff. We're in this together.
I have to say, this group is anything but scary. It is the most welcoming, and you all have been my lifeline. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The other thing I wanted to mention is don't ever apologize for what your goal is to you, because it's for you. It doesn't have to be a million, a billion, or this or that. There's no, never minimize it. It's whatever it is to you is important. So when we externalize it, that's what everyone else is thinking about it, and which doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
Yeah, my whole goal, it started with an overweight kid who just didn't want to be overweight anymore. That was it. And my goal was mine. I wasn't looking out to like, oh, well, such and such is doing. No, I don't care. My goal is mine. And then it turns into whatever it turns into. So great point, Scott.
Lisa Lott, you're closing us out here. What was the date again?
Nice.
This is an absolutely amazing group of people. And I love how you guys all support each other. And, we're a unique group of people. And somebody told me the other day, they've talked to so many different people, and the common denominator was they're all amazing people, which is what it's all about. Cliff, man, this has been so much fun.
Hey, thank you, my brother.
Your ability to listen and be so thoughtful in your responses is just something from like conversation one. I'm like, wow, this guy, I mean, it sounds weird to say this guy, like I was so impressed with how thoughtful you are in listening and responding. And I don't know, it makes it feel like it's not just like a typical conversation. Like this guy's really in it. He's really, really super intentional about listening. And that's why it's so much fun to have conversations with you.
Hey, thank you so much. And I thank all of you for playing full out, participating. And again, go put it on the refrigerator, put it somewhere you can see it.
Yeah.
Because if we can't see it, our minds start running the ship. We want to be the ones running the ship, not our minds. So Yeah. Place it somewhere you can see it and go keep crushing it, Outliers. You guys are amazing.
I agree. One quick tip on that, on the visualization piece, what I found is that when you put something in one spot, let's say that you put it, here on the bottom of your computer, you eventually won't see it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So move it, like if it's a Post-it note or whatever, move it around. I know that sounds like silly and tactical, but the refrigerator, the bathroom mirror, the computer, when you move it around, it no longer becomes just like because a lot of that stuff becomes easy to ignore over time. You don't even see it anymore. And I think what Cliff's saying is make it that visual reminder all the time that this is what I'm going after. So it's a just small hack that I think works.
Yeah, really good hack. And how you guys shared it, go share it around people. Go share it. Don't stop sharing it. Share it with the people who are going to support you, who are going to build you up, who are going to be by your side as you're navigating your journey.
You're the best, my friend.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Have a good one.
Happy
Thank
Friday.
you.
Take care, everyone. Happy
See you
Friday.
guys.
Bye, everyone.
Friday.